Good afternoon, and welcome to Man Cave Meditations. Let's dive in. So I know it's been a minute. I had another vacation this past week. Incredible. I was able to go up north to my home state of Massachusetts. Beautiful up there this time of year. So nice. And see some family and very restful. And but not that I need to give an excuse for my I feel the need to give a reason, not an excuse, a reason to my 3 subscribers of why it's been a minute since I posted, and that's why. But anyway, I knew I was going to make a video. I felt the need to. Not sure what I was going to talk about, but there's certainly plenty to talk about. But just in the past hour or so, I watched a video from one of my favorite channels, iHit News, and it was showing at the beginning of the video that Jennifer and Angie were doing. It was showing this pastor, MAGA pastor, supposedly has hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube, Twitter, or whatever, and probably a millionaire, speaks to thousands of people every Sunday, and I don't know. But it showed this man on a podcast or something, and he was basically, in so many words, saying that anyone who's in position of power, should be a white male. That's the way it should be. And besides the overpowering thought I had when listening to this man, the overpowering thought I had that he was just a colossal piece of shit, is something that you wipe off your shoe. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, again, what is to get from the leaves back to the branches to the trunk of the tree? Like, what is happening with all of this? Right? Like, how do hundreds of thousands of people listen to that garbage, nonsense, and think that that's okay? Click like, subscribe, go to a church and listen to this man spew venom. How is that allowed to be? How could any intelligent, discerning American, human being, listen to that and think it's okay? That kind of talk. And that was just one of the things that I heard of him say. Divisive poison coming out of this man's mouth. And I thought of when I was young, being very sensitive growing up. I wore my heart on my sleeve, so to speak. And when I was in 6th grade, I got bullied. Mainly because, again, I wore my heart on my sleeve. If someone hurt my feelings, I showed it. And that was an invitation for further attacks. So, following this period of being bullied during that time, it was only a few months' time during that year, but it felt like years, as it would to any child who would go through something like that. I thought about it for years after, just trying to understand. Like, how could some of these kids who at one point called me their friends all of a sudden turn on me? and join this group to attack someone who they once called a friend, who they were friendly with. And again, thought about it, dissected it for years. Probably should have been a psychologist, but here I am. And I came to realize, after thinking about it, similar to what's going on now and what's gone on throughout history, with this Christian national group, the MAGA group, you could call, the rise of Nazism 80 years, 90 years ago. Human beings, call it the way that we're just built. We desire, there's something within us that just desires community, right? To be in a group, to be accepted by a group. There's power in a group. There is. So say in my case, for example, say there was one bully that started the whole thing. For whatever reason. He didn't like me. Right? And then he got a sidekick. And then those two people, they formed a group. And if nothing else, the binding force of that group was attacking me. Right? And then others joined that group. Right? One by one. So, and in that group, the group provides two main things. It provides there's safety in the group, right? Because if I'm part of the group, not only do I have the protection of the group, I'm not going to be attacked by the group because I'm within that circle. Yeah? I'm within the circle. I'm safe within the circle. So I'm safe. I'm safe, at least from the group's attacks that would, if I'm not part of it, they could attack me. And in addition to that, there's our need for community, to be part of a group. So this need for community, to be part of others, to have communion with others, right? To be together with others, that's part of our makeup. That's part of our DNA. But with some of these evil movements, they almost take advantage of that part of our DNA to create this community, which their binding principle is evil. To do harm to another, be it, me in 6th grade, it was, 4 or 5 kids that bound together, that their binding principle was to attack me. Right. Or say 90 years ago, the Nazi Party, where at the beginning, the average German in the early 1930s, they wanted nothing to do with the Nazi Party. They well, my God, these people are a joke. They're French. But as that group became bigger and bigger and bigger and sucked more into it, again, the power in the group. The power is in the group, in the community. It's our natural DNA to want to be part of the group. And that group's binding principle was to attack Jews. They're the problem. They're the evil. And if you're part of the group, even if the group's binding principle is an evil one, you have safety in the group. And to be part of the group, you may have to just push down your soul that says this is wrong. What I am doing and what they're doing is wrong, but there's safety in it. I can gain, by being in the group, I can gain material possessions, more wealth, more power, right? Safety in numbers. I'm protected. My family's protected. I just have to push down that within me, that true part within me that says that this is wrong and I shouldn't be doing this. right? Which takes great inner strength and awareness to say no, to not be a part of it. And you see it now, in this day and age. With this, the Christian nationalism, right? Again, it's a circle. It's a circle. You're in the circle. Anything that is not true, anything that is not for our betterment, our individual and collective betterment, is going to have a line around it. Any type of group, it's going to have a line around it where there's us and then there's everything else. And if you're outside the circle, you're not part of us, right? And so at that point, you can warrant our attack, right? Etc. And these groups, as they grow bigger and bigger, they almost give license, especially if the group is based upon the founding principle of the group is evil. Evil being that which goes against what we truly are. We are meant to be loving and inclusive and bring everything together. That's what true community is meant to be. True community, communion with each other is meant to be. So you have this perverse community of these groups: Nazism, MAGA, Christian nationalism. You can go on and on and on throughout history. History's rife with examples. And they use our DNA, our need to be part of that communion, but they use it for an evil intent, right? And you either join or die. You're in the circle or you're out. And once you're out, you're banished. Right? And proof of this lies all over the place. I mean, just take Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. Ran in 2016 in the Republican primary for president. Look at the way they spoke. Just go back. Google videos of them talking during that time. And then Google videos of them now. Do you want to stay in the group? Or do you want to get kicked out? Because you get kicked out, that's it. You're out. And to be in the group, in one of these evil groups, call it Nazism 90 years ago, MAGA, Christian nationalism. These groups, the collective just sucks the soul from the individual, right? And just basically makes them like an automaton that must follow the group in order to survive. So you lose basically all that individual pushback that could normally happen within a group, where one's own humanity, say in my case where I was bullied, and one of those kids may say, this isn't right, we shouldn't be doing this to this kid, right? That's pressed down. Because if you do that, then you could get kicked out of the group. And if you're kicked out of the group, then you're a potential target. You lose the safety of the group. Right? So that's not to beat it to death, but that's a big part of what's going on. It's been going on throughout history. We desire as human beings, we desire communion. We desire to be part of something, to be part of a whole, to be part of something. But here's the deal. Anything in which there is a line, where there's an us and a them, that's not inclusive, be it because of skin color, status in society, where you're from, who you pray to, anything that where which dictates membership of the group, depends upon something like that. That's not inclusive. It's evil. It goes against what we truly are. And that's what I mean by evil. Right? It goes against what we are. Okay? So it's almost like using our need to be together and part of something greater than ourselves, in an evil way. Our binding principle is to, 90 years ago, the Nazi Party. Our binding principle, what brings us all together, is hatred of the Jews. MAGA. Our binding principle is love of Donald Trump, hatred of immigrants. Right? Anyone who's not white. Whatever. It starts with immigrants. It moves past that. Right? Christian nationalism. Anyone who doesn't think the way we do. Yeah. And the deeper, the larger these groups get and the deeper people go into it, the more that they lose their individuality. Their ability to say, this isn't right, this isn't the way it should be. We shouldn't be treating people like this. Because of the color of their skin, because of the way they pray, because of where they are from, because of their sexual orientation. That's not right. True community is inclusive. Brings all. That is true love. True love is absolute inclusivity. Whereas fear and hatred are what drives these other groups of fear and hatred, and us and them. So thinking on that and realizing that this movement that's beginning, it's gaining like slowly, but it is, that will stand up to this evil, must be a movement of inclusivity. All are welcome. And we fight together, individually and collectively, we fight for the rights of the common man. And if you look at this mayoral candidate, who will win? Mamdani. He will win. I feel. And you listen to him speak, and that's what he's talking about. He's a Muslim. Ooh, but he's not just for Muslims. He's not standing there in a circle, saying, that's how Fox News will depict him, like Al-Qaeda or something like that. No, he's talking about everybody. What's good for all. Right? All of us. It's beautiful. And it scares the shit out of the power structures that currently are in power. It scares the shit out of them. And again, just like Bernie and AOC have been an invitation of what to do, he is an invitation of how to move forward in order to combat this collective madness. He is an invitation. Okay? And I still feel that the one who will come and beat this all down, who we can rally behind, man, woman, gay, lesbian, whatever, right, will be someone who champions inclusivity, right? All of it. Just someone who demands or speaks for just a common good for all of us, right? That perhaps we shouldn't live in the richest, that it's a problem that we are the richest nation in the world, and we just President just signed legislation on July 4th that's going to kick, over 10 million people off their health care. I'm not saying that Medicaid's not perfect, it's got its flaws. But I don't think that's the way to do it. Right? Legislation that's going to, be the greatest mass distribution of wealth since the Gilded Age, which Theodore Roosevelt, fought to dismantle over 120 years ago. We're the poorest of us have served, the majority of us have served the few. And what greater example of this than, Jeff Bezos having a $50 million wedding in Venice. Yeah, sure. He can do it. He can do whatever he wants. But what the fuck do you need to have a $50 million wedding for? Why can't you have a $10 million wedding and then give the other $40 million to starving people? It's like, come on. It's just a sign of our collective sickness. And as these things become more apparent, which this big, beautiful bill is showing, it's just making all these inequities among us, it's just making them all more apparent. Right? And people are waking up. They're waking up more and more and more. Right? And this whole administration, it's just, and people need to see, it's just a big giant shit show. The whole thing. It's a giant shit show. And they feel, honestly, and I'll leave with this, they feel that even with the signing of this bill that's going to screw so many people, they feel immune to the whole process. They feel immune to the political process. Maybe they have a plan to not hold elections, maybe. Or maybe they just think that their people, or so many of the American people, are so out of it, right? And so in just a herd mentality, and they can just rely on Fox News and newsman, mainly Fox News, just spewing everybody bullshit. And that they'll still vote for them, following the herd. And a lot of the worst parts of this bill, like a long fuse, they don't go off until after the midterms, until after the next presidential election. So what are they going to do? They're just going to blame it on, it was Biden's fault. It's the Democrats' fault. Look, you got kicked off your health care. Who's in power? The Democrats. They're the problem. It's like they're just acting so arrogantly because they feel that the American people are dumb and not awake. And to a degree, they're not wrong. And they are wrong at the same time. Because those who have slept so long are now waking up. And these times require that any intelligent, discerning citizens of this great country, still great. It's going through darkness right now, but it's still great. That we, each of us, become the greatest versions of ourselves and invite others to do the same. And to wake up and demand something better. And as we do so, the leaders, they will come forward. Right? As the people call forward, the leaders will come forward. That's the way it goes. So, anyway, spoken too much. God bless. Bye-bye.